Hello and welcome to Post-Purchase Success, the podcast from Parcel Lab and the place to learn about how leaders and brands in e-commerce have transformed their experience. I'm your host, Angus Knights. Today's episode is the second of two fantastic episodes recorded for you live at ShopTalk in Las Vegas. In this episode, I had the privilege of sitting down with Breanna Moreno, the VP of Customer Experience at True Classic. Now, True Classic is such a rocket ship brand in terms of their growth right now. And if you want to find out why, then you need look no further than this interview. As employee number one, Breanna is by far and away the most qualified person to reveal all of their customer experience secrets. And we talked about so many amazing things in this discussion. The one that rises to the top for me is the strategic discussion of how they pivoted from being a cost center in customer services to becoming a revenue generating machine. And alongside that, we looked at culture and how that's crucial for the scalability of the customer services operation. And we also just talked about how you can get bigger and better outcomes with less resource going in the first place. It was a great discussion, so let's dive right in. You're joining us live at ShopTalk, and Breanna, thanks so much for joining us for this conversation. Really excited to dive into quite a few topics today.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me. Such an honor. It's buzzing here today, so it's going to be a good day.
It is buzzing. How have you found the show?
It's been so fun. It's a whirlwind. It's definitely a lot to take in. I had Connor walk around with me yesterday. I was going to have him steal swag for me because I'm too scared to go up to all of these vendors. And we came back with nothing. So we fell a little short, but maybe we'll try again today.
So that's not the most fruitful part of the conference, but that's...
No, that isn't, but that's just truth.
Fantastic.
100% truth.
So I'd love to just dive in a little bit to your background, and also obviously True Classic is a brand.
Yes.
We're keen to learn a bit more about that. So for those who know nothing about Breanna and who know nothing about True Classic, where did it all begin?
Gosh, so it's kind of a boring story, but I'll start from the beginning. I shifted over into the kind of CX space in, I guess it would be 2015. I had just had my third baby, and I was trying to be a stay-at-home mom, and I wasn't very good at it. Prior to that, I had probably a good 12, 13 years in corporate America, and I thought I would try the stay-at-home mom bit, and I just failed at it because I needed something for me, and I really thrive with challenge. So I ended up reaching out to a startup company that I was a consumer of and began working in their customer support. Quickly scaled. Obviously, I may have been a little overqualified for the role, but it was so fun. And I was on the verge of getting into learning how to write code with them because I was, again, just motivated by challenge and looking to grow and for more and more. So it started out as like a 15-hour a week. I'm over here looking at 40 plus hours now in a whole new world I'd never touched in. And the CEOs came to me and said, listen, our best friend, who's the CEO of another startup in Utah, is looking for somebody to come and overhaul her support team and grow it and scale it. So I went over to Freshly Picked and built and scaled their team for 5 years. And then that's when True Classic found me, came over to True Classic and did the same thing. I was employee number one, which everybody trips out on because one, I'm obviously still here, but two, I know all of the deepest, darkest secrets of the beginning and how the company really just took off. But that's kind of how I ended up here.
Amazing. And being employee number one, I can understand why everyone dwells on that because it just sounds so amazing.
I know, it sounds amazing, but really it's just kind of a funny story to tell that I'm employee number one, but it's been a wild ride. So amazing to watch this company just absolutely flourish. And the reason why I was so motivated to come and work for them is because the three founders are just the most genuine, amazing guys. And I just immediately got behind them and absolutely supported everything that they were doing, both from the mission perspective to just who they are as individuals. And I was fortunate enough to get to know that and know them before kind of the company grew so quick. So I'm really grateful for that.
Yeah, amazing. And in terms of the mission, tell us a bit more about the mission that True Classic is on.
True Classic is just all about giving back. It's not necessarily about selling a product. Obviously, we want to be a solution to a problem that men or eventually women are trying to solve for, but it's really about making people feel good, and that's not just necessarily in a product, but just giving back to our communities in need, donating to the Tiny House Project annually that we do time and time again. And then again, just so many organizations and schools and moments of give back. We do, with my team, a ton of surprise and delight moments that we just organically find and seek to really be there and again give back in a way that isn't selling a product. There was a story once that was so touching. A woman had just lost her husband who was serving overseas, had to cancel her order. They had a baby on the way, and we went and had a bear made with his apparel that he used to wear, and just again little moments like that of where we can be a community for people outside of just selling a product.
Yeah, amazing. It sounds like, an extremely fulfilling kind of mission to be part of.
So fulfilling.
Yeah.
It's nice. And it's nice to be working for a brand that really supports that and encourages that, because, it's hard to find that these days.
Yeah, for sure. So let's dive into a little bit about kind of what it's like in the direct-to-consumer space and kind of what makes that space different. You've talked a lot about like the people and the mission,
yes.
and it feels like those things are very central to D2C commerce.
Yes.
Across, for True Classic, of course, but for other brands as well. What else is it that kind of makes D2C like such an exciting and interesting place to be?
Yeah, I think the people, everybody's different. Everybody has their own specific shopping patterns or habits or preferences. And so getting to understand that, we really see this more with like international business, where we're really trying to look at culturally, what do international markets expect in their shopping with other D2C businesses or a US-based business. So this is something that I'm challenging myself with this year mostly, is just really understanding our international markets and being wherever that particular consumer is expecting us to be, so that we can surprise and delight, so that we can exceed expectations and build that community. I'm really motivated for that this year, but I think I'm so blessed to be able to do what I do, because we are primarily the first touch point with a customer, a human connection that is, I think, just a powerful thing.
Yeah. And when I've heard you talk in the past about customer services and what it kind of means for the brand, it feels like you have a really strong perspective. It's not customer services just for the sake of responding to queries. Like, you give customers an experience. You're there to support them and to kind of have these like special moments with them. And I'm keen to just understand a little bit more about kind of like what, from like a higher level like perspective, what is customer services? Like what function do you really feel that plays in a D2C business?
So first of all, I think I've said this 100 times just this year, but I really believe that these customer support agents are probably the strongest value of an employee in your organization, because essentially they are that first touch point, right? So they're your front line essentially, and they hold so much power with product knowledge, brand tone. They know your product inside and out. They know your brand inside and out, right? So you really want to leverage them to hone in on not just conversation, but what could we be doing better? What are those conversations sharing about our company, our product, that we can then tap into and make better? So we're really good about pulling out the data from all of the feedback we get in CX and acting upon it. Whereas I think a lot of brands just, support has always been known as a cost center or a complaint. It tends to be problematic. And I don't look at it that way. I'm super customer centric. And I've learned early on that whatever your customers are saying, whether it's good or bad, is a tool that we should all be leveraging, right? To help us be better, to help us be where our customer wants us to be. So I always look at the team the support team as a very strong value. I make sure that they have a platform to give back the feedback. We take all of the data that we're absorbing in our help desk and funnel that throughout the company, which again, like I said, in turn allows us to make more impactful decisions or changes, or really be able to quantify impact of what our customers are saying. And if we're not doing that, then we're doing a disservice to our customers, right? So I just think, again, the support team, yes, they deal with problems. Yes, they're cleaning, mistakes or issues from people that, are outside of the organization or aside from them. But I think, again, just the motivation of really giving them a purpose, value, motivating them, in turn reaps so many rewards for your brand.
Yeah. It feels when you talk about your teams, like they're very empowered.
Yes, very empowered.
That they have a very high level of trust from you.
Absolutely.
How do you, has it always been like that? I suppose you have at least had the opportunity to build from very early on. But how do you achieve that level of trust?
Yeah, I think it all depends on your hiring techniques, right? You have to go in and find talent. You've got to connect with them. You've got to set expectations. And you've got to trust that the people you hired are going to do what you hired them to do. You've got to let them execute. Even if we fail, we're human. We're all going to fail. We're going to learn together. That's the thing too about startup business, or just anything, I think, these days in our business, in our industry, right? Things are shifting and changing. We saw that during the pandemic. We're constantly having to, pivot and move to react. And I think, again, the same goes for the team. I'm super transparent when we hire that this is the expectations. They're really high. We get that, but we believe you are capable. And we give more than enough tools so that they can execute their job effectively. We're mentoring, we're coaching along the way, we're making it fun. And I think that's the difference, is you've got to have that element of fun in there, because that's what encourages people to keep coming back day in and day out and give the very best of themselves. So I'm very proud of our team. They are very much empowered. I trust them. They know what they've got to do, and they know that they have, their managers and me behind them to help support them.
Yeah, amazing. So I'm really keen also to dig in a little bit. You talked about some of the data and the things that they can draw out of their interactions with customers, and that you can share back with the business, maybe informing about problems with products, about other challenges that you can tackle. Keen to understand a little bit more about actually how you pull out some of that data. Can you share a bit more around some of the tools, but also the processes that you have in order to surface data and then share it back with other teams that need it?
Yes, this is such a good one, because this was my focus last year, was tons around innovation, right? And how can I make CX more of a data hub, because there's so much value in what we are getting within our help desk or our experiences that we're providing. So I partnered last year with Zowie AI, and we built out an entire help desk platform that is extrapolating the data from CX using AI. I also obviously partnered with Parcel with our post-purchase and our returns. That's also huge leverage on data that we're then extrapolating and funneling out throughout our business, so that we can make more impactful decisions throughout the company that's going to improve the CX. It's going to, limit returns, encourage repeat purchases, and so on and so forth. So again, the data is so impactful from a CX perspective, because this is direct feedback from your consumers, your everyday customer. It's a very organic conversation. So it's not like, just a survey where you're surveying and asking for feedback, but you're really having an organic conversation. And then we're leveraging technology to pull out that data and make business decisions around it, which I think, again, just exemplifies the customer-centric mentality that we have throughout the organization.
Yeah, amazing. And you talk about innovation, but where are the drivers for that? Is that an internal team thing where you're trying to, as a team, innovate, provide more back to the business, or are you being, requested from the business to provide this kind of additional data and information? I'm just really curious how this comes about, how you move the needle forwards.
Yes, it's funny, because moving the needle is one of our core values. Our president, Ben, has really come in, and he has just motivated everybody to look at technology as a tool. And it's probably a combination of both. I'm a very strong forward thinker. And you can ask Julian from Parcel, who's like, pump the brakes, or Maciek from Zowie, because I'm constantly like, okay, next, what's next? Oh, I had this idea. How do we implement this? So it's probably a combination of both. We're very data driven at True Classic. We test. We want to know that something is going to positively impact our customer, the journey, drive down costs before we just, throw it to the wall and hope it sticks. So we're constantly testing. And same on my side. I'm very motivated to see how can we do the things that we're doing better and more efficiently, which is why I'm able to have such a small team for a significant amount of volume, is because we're very efficient, we're very process oriented, but at the end of the day, we know we're just going to take care of our customers because that's the best thing for all of us. So yeah, it's probably a combination of all of that.
Yeah, fantastic. And one of the things as well that I know that's been a particularly important kind of factor for the role of customer services at True Classic is the idea of really shifting away from kind of cost center towards profit center.
Yes.
And that's an interesting sort of topic, because traditionally we have always thought of customer services as cost. It really feels, when you talk about True Classic as a business, that is not the business's perspective.
Absolutely not. No.
How did you get to that space?
So, it's funny you say this. I think I was in the new home building industry back in 2009 when our market here in the U.S. tanked and crashed, and tons of people lost their job, and it was a really difficult time, and we had a ton of consolidation. And what I learned in that stint of my journey in my career was, you don't necessarily need to do things because you've always done them that way, but instead you need to challenge yourself to see, is there a better way? Am I doing this long drawn out process because it impacts the results, or could I potentially cut some of that stuff out? And that's always stuck with me. So in any organization that I've come to, I'm very cost centric. I believe we can get more done with less, right? And I have this phrase, work smarter, not harder. I even use it for my kids. So I'm very motivated by, we can accomplish even more than the average in an easier way, with less friction, less cost, less all of that. So it's just in me. So everything I do, I'm very cost centric. I'm obviously thinking of the customer as well. And again, if we're serving our customer quicker, we know that's creating a better result for them, and it's also driving down costs on the back end. So we tend to walk this tightrope between our customers and our company, our brand, to make sure that we're serving both. But I think, again, from that perspective, it really helps you to keep in mind that this is going to generate more profit. I motivate the team, like we talked about, empowering them to understand their value and their worth, and encourage them so they have confidence when they're having these conversations with customers that they can convert a customer to make a purchase. If something goes wrong, our conversation should result in that customer continuing to stick with us. We earn back that trust, and they're making subsequent purchases. We measure that. We measure that in our LTV with the customers we engage with. Significantly, we're 30 to 35% higher LTV. That means we're generating revenue, and in turn, we are a profit center. We are not a cost center. Yes, we're solving problems, but we're doing it in the most impactful way to drive down costs, which is, again, increasing revenue.
Yeah, amazing.
So you have a sales perspective, and then you have a retention perspective, right? And doing it in the most efficient way is working for us really, really well.
Yeah. So at this stage, it feels like you've probably proven out a lot of this to the business and to your founders. And
yes.
And it feels like there's a very high level of trust then in return.
Yes.
So if Breanna says, this is how I want to do it, there's not so much pushing back, but more like, kind of an open arms approach.
Yes.
But how do you get to that stage? Because not everyone is starting from having the metrics to back up that, that it's profitability rather than cost.
Right.
Not everyone has the track record. Like how do you get to having, because that must also change the dynamic of how you work with the founders and other senior members of leadership.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's such a good question because you're right. I think, again, I go into anything and everything of I have to earn that trust, right? I even think of that from a customer's purchasing from us, right? We have to earn that trust from them. The same thing with any founders that I'm working with or even partners, right? I have to earn that trust for them. And the only way to do that is to show them. And I think that, throughout my tenure has just helped. I'm a very honest person. I'm upfront. People appreciate that because they know that you're not just doing something because it's what you think they want you to do, but there's a lot of passion behind what I do. So I'm an open book. Everybody can read it on my face. And I think what that does is that allows people to know that I care. And then obviously in the execution, they know that they can trust me. I'm dependable. I'm, generally going to come in over and above expectation because I care that much. So I've definitely come in early on, and I remember, with the founders, them being really nervous to turn it over to me because this is their baby and they care and they think nobody else is going to care as much as they do. And quickly on, they realized, okay, she's got it. So just throughout the years, they've known. They've never had to ask me to do something. I'm already there. And I think that's that forward thinker in me where I'm just, again, I'm already there. I'm already out front. I'm building amazing relationships with partners that are helping us to build some really amazing solutions that are, again, driving down costs and improving the experience. So that execution piece is continually there. And it's just, I've just been blessed.
Yeah, amazing. And I actually really love that message of, you can prove to people that you care enough that they will also trust in you.
Yes.
And you can also genuinely care. I mean, that's it comes from that
100%.
a place of genuine care. And that's so clear when you talk about the brand and the people that you work with. But it's also, I feel like that's a great lesson for anybody that if you are determined to care about things, it'll really work in your favor.
Yes. Find and get behind brands, partnerships that you genuinely care about, that you can envision yourself building, because that's essentially what you're doing. Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yes.
So I'm keen to talk a little bit also about the post-purchase experience for True Classic. Obviously, that's an area where Parcel Lab and True Classic have been able to collaborate and doing some really interesting things, not just in the kind of the outward part of that journey, but also in the return space.
Yes.
It would be great to just understand a little bit about, particularly from a customer services perspective, how you see post-purchase and kind of the role that post-purchase takes, for the business and for the journey of the customer.
Well, we probably all know that the Wizmo orders, where's my order, is genuinely 40% of the traffic that you're seeing in your help desk or through your support channels. And at the end of the day, we don't want our customers to be asking where their order is. So I'm very driven on being proactive. I want to solve for the problem before anybody has to ask me what's going on. Last year, we were trying to solve for both our post-purchase from a global perspective because our vendor at the time was not able to solve for that. And at the same time, provide some sort of custom solutions. I met Parcel Lab, and it was kind of the beginning of the end. They came in, they were able to solve for our global post-purchase friction. They were able to do things that I didn't even realize were possible because you're always told, oh, we can't do that. The carrier isn't passing such and such, so it's just not an option. And instead, working directly with the CTO, we learned, no, even if you're not using a guaranteed delivery date, we can use AI pulling from your recent deliveries to pop in there and give a range. And so that impacted our international business so significantly. We were seeing a lot of frustration from our international customers of when is this order getting delivered? There's the handoff between the carrier to a local delivery, and being able to solve for that was so impactful. And then the cherry on top was Parcel saying we can help with your returns, which I was simultaneously trying to solve for. So it was like the heavens opened up and I saw God and he said, here you go. And I just was like, wow, this is amazing. They built an integration for us with Globally that is not out there. And now I have all of my returns data in one warehouse. We're funneling all of that information up into our business, which is, again, making impactful business decisions, driving down costs. And then I think that, the most exciting thing, I know you asked about post-purchase and I'm going off, which I tend to do because I just get so passionate, but I'm so excited that we built this portal with Parcel that is not on the market. And I don't think like we did a good enough job shouting it from the rooftops, but we built a portal that essentially, if you have a quality issue within your product, what happens is that customers are probably already discouraged and frustrated. They come into your queues, your support people have to ask all these questions, right? Then they have to issue a replacement order. And it's hard to pull that data out at a granular level to make impactful business decisions with manufacturers or partners or what have you. So we built a portal where that is funneling through and automating a replacement, and all of the data is housed. And again, we get to take that back to our product team. Our product team shares it with their partners. And again, it's just driving down costs and significantly impacting the business.
Yeah, amazing. And I guess that's also a really good example of not just improving the experience that those current customers are going through by making things easy and self-service, but you're actually taking data to mean that future customers don't have those same issues. And you're reducing the time it takes for that feedback loop to happen.
Yes, and reducing time spent that agents have to work on these tickets, servicing the customer way quicker, and just all in all, it's such a better experience. And at the end of the day, we're taking the costs and we're able to offset those on the back end. And it's something that I'm so proud of because, like I said, it's not out there. And I was able to partner with this vendor that said, we're here, we'll do it, let's do it. And we're talking now about them trying to help us with surveying and NPS. And again, that forward thinking doesn't stop, and I just love that. That's what we're all about at True Classic, which is why we've scaled so significantly quick, is because we are always thinking in the future. And so yes, I'm very excited about our partnership with Parcel.
Fantastic. And thinking in the future, you obviously mentioned a little bit around surveying, around NPS, but from a post-purchase perspective, what do you think will be the most important kind of future topics, problems to solve for, or innovations?
Yeah, definitely, understanding how to surprise and delight that customer right when their order is on its way, pumping them up, getting them excited, and then, kind of taking that moment of heightened excitement and really capitalizing on that, I think is going to be a really significant driver that we're going to be able to tap into for post-purchase. And then again, if and when something unfortunately goes wrong, they understand from that post-purchase journey that we've been consistent, we're there, and they know they can easily reference back to that email. It's going to have some CTAs in there, and they can easily reach us. We're just a click away. And I think, again, that harnesses that trust, that dependability for sure. So.
Fantastic. Exciting times for the True Classic customer.
Very much.
Amazing. This is almost at the end of our time discussing today, but just before we wrap up, I was really keen to just ask a little bit around resources or materials or places you might go for learning, or anything that's made a bit of an impression on you that you would kind of want to pass forwards in some way.
That's such a good one. When I look at my journey, I don't necessarily have somebody that was a predecessor that taught me everything inside and out. I was very much self-taught. I definitely have core values that most certainly impact and help aid me in difficult situations. A lot of what I've learned has been through trial and error, which I think makes me more of an impactful leader because I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to be in, various roles and in their shoes. And with that, it helps me be a better leader to help encourage them and empower them and give them a platform and absorb that feedback to make us better. What I think my journey is within the last couple of years is being that resource, being that mentor, being that advocate for others in the industry that are looking to grow and to become CX leaders in our space, really looking to advocate just from the support side in general, really looking to advocate for those because I think historically they generally are the most underpaid and undervalued department within an organization. And I'd really love to change the mindset within our, at least, our e-commerce space of leveraging the value that these people really possess and elevating them and moving them up within your company, because those are generally your most dedicated and very well-rounded employees that are going to give you so much more than I think people expect. But yeah, I just look forward to being, again, for other people, what I kind of had to figure out on my own, and paving a way for us to really elevate this CX space and make us more well known, that like we're here, we're a significant impact, we are a revenue driver, we are very much forward thinking, and I think that wraps it up.
Fantastic. So if folks wanted to reach out to you with questions on anything you shared in this discussion, or just for advice, or to inquire about mentorship, is that something that you'd be happy for? And if so, how should they reach you?
For sure. I do that often, actually. I've helped several brands all over the space just to kind of walk through how I have kind of gotten to where I've gotten, how I have our team structured, things to think about. So yeah, you can probably easiest to find me on LinkedIn.
Fantastic. Amazing. All right. Well, Breanna, thanks so much for joining us. This has been just an amazing conversation. I feel like you shared so much.
So much. Thank you for having me. Are you going to go to Ludacris tonight? Are we going to get down?
I will be at Ludacris tonight.
Okay. I can't wait.
Fantastic. Thanks, Breanna. And thanks also to our listeners. I hope you've enjoyed this live conversation here at ShopTalk. Apologies for any of the background noise, but I think it's been a great discussion. And if you want to find out any more about post-purchase, of course, you can visit us at parcellab.com, and please remember to subscribe to the podcast. You can do that on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. But for now, thank you and goodbye.